Good morning, it's Chrissy, and it's early in the morning. It is a little after 7 a.m., so of course I'm going to look crazy. But I had something on my mind, and um, obviously I've devoted this particular channel specifically to special needs and support for the caretakers of the special needs. For those who don't know from my first video, my son has a speech and language developmental delay. And he, even though they haven't officially diagnosed him with it, me as the mother noticed some things with sensory. And so I did some research, and I'm a big researcher, so I researched the crap out of it. But I did some research into SPD, sensory processing delay, and some of those things fit my son's behavior and extra needs. So, excuse me, I had him, I took him to an occupational therapist, and she evaluated him, and she said, yes, he could definitely use some occupational therapy. He needs to strengthen those fine motors. His gross motor is fine, but he needs to strengthen the fine motors. So, yeah, a little bit about my son. He is extremely intelligent. He wants to be an astronaut when he grows up, and he did pre-K for 2 years. He's now in kindergarten. He's the baby in the class. His birthday's over the summer, so they make them take a test to see if they're going to go in kindergarten readiness like a lot of the baby kindergartners do, or if he's going to be in an older kindergarten class, which he is. Academically, he does phenomenal. He has a photographic memory. He remembers whatever. He learns extremely fast. However, that could make him a little impatient with the other children. And with speech and language delay, especially paired with sensory processing delay, they can get frustrated fairly easily. And when they have a tantrum, especially being that you're talking about toddlers, when they have a tantrum, it can come across a little bit outrageous. Any of you parents that deal with it know exactly what I'm talking about. You'll be like, what the heck is this meltdown? Why all of a sudden this meltdown? What happened? Use your words. Like, use your words. I say that a lot to my son because he can say a lot. He can say a lot. And he actually uses big words a lot. But I'm like, use your words, use your words, use your words. Because he will just like, he'll get frustrated and impatient with himself. And then that can kind of make him act out a little bit. Usually his acting out is like falling on the floor or going, no, and tossing something or whatever. Anyway, that's a little bit of background with my son. He's always ahead. He's been in pre-K for 2 years. When he went into pre-K, he knew everything they were going to teach. The next year, he knew everything they were going to teach. But it was excellent for his speech, because he was only child for 3 years before I had my daughter. So it's excellent for his speech to be around other kids and see how they process things and see how they speak and all this type of stuff. And probably a good two months into it, his speech picked up like 50%. So I think it was there. He just really didn't get how to use it. And Anywho, he is now in a very uppity type school, you know what I'm saying? And they don't know really how to deal with kids with special needs. That's been my biggest issue. And it has caused a humongous stress on me personally since school started. We're here into September. School started August the 10th. And I've already been full of anxiety and stress. Reason being is they don't know. These schools are not properly trained to deal with children with any special needs. And, you know, a lot of people will come up, and I'm going to get to this frustration in a minute, and they'll say, oh, I got an autistic son or autistic nephew or autistic cousin. And it's like, you're trying to relate to me by diagnosing my child without knowing me or my child. These are random strangers, you guys, random strangers that'll see him act out in a way, and then they'll go, oh, that kid must be autistic. They think that autism is the only delay out here. They think it's the only disorder out here, and they're wrong. I'm a huge advocate for Autism Speaks. I do the walks. You all can join my cause every year. I go under the name He Sent Me, or either Lavelle. It's usually paired. Lavelle is my nephew. He is 18. Is he 18 yet? Gosh, I'm getting old. Anyway, he's autistic. Love the crap out of him. So for many years, behind the scenes, I've either donated to Autism Speaks or done the walks and, and raise funds. And this year I'm going to try to sell t-shirts and things like that. But anyway, so to say, I have an 18-year-old nephew who's autistic. And then I have another nephew on the other side who has Asperger's, and he is 8, I think. Look, y'all, I have a ton of nieces and nephews. So if I get a number off a little bit, forgive me. So that's just to say that I've been advocating for this for a long time, before I ever had kids. In fact, I have a photo, which I may put up, when my son was an infant and we did the autism walk as a family. This is obviously before I even knew he had a speech and language delay. Okay. So I say that to say, if my child was autistic, I wouldn't be offended. But the fact that somebody comes along and tries to diagnose your kid is an issue. I mean, you don't even come up and introduce yourself, yet alone have a civilized conversation. You just see my child's actions and decide to diagnose him. That is a problem for us parents. We don't need you coming up and putting an extra level of anxiety on us. We're already trying to deal with the kid who's behaving in a certain way, and then you come up and decide to add on with your 2 cents that don't even apply to the situation. Or you have schools that are treating kids for disorders they don't have. I have a friend whose child is seeing the special ed teacher throughout, once a day or whatever. And when she talked to her on the phone, she just kept referring to her child is autistic and her child is not autistic. So it's a problem. These schools need to be properly trained. I'm not sure how much time I got here, guys, because I've been talking. But it's kind of like introductory to me. I did a video a while back. But I hadn't had the chance to come back on here. So I just figured I'd reintroduce myself. I'm Chrissy again, and I just want to get out some frustrations this morning. Let's advocate for each other. That's what this channel is all about. Y'all have a blessed day.